A widowed rancher. A rifle that jammed more than it fired. A child actor who could cry on command without a single trick. The Rifleman wasn't just another black and white western, it was a quiet revolution hiding behind gun smoke. Its star nearly quit after one episode. One brutal story was buried for decades. The ending never came. And the rifle everyone remembers. It was never meant to glorify violence, it was a burden carried by a father trying to raise a son in a brutal world. This isn't nostalgia. This is the untold truth behind one of television's most emotionally dangerous shows. Before we load up, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because stories like this don't stay hidden forever. Chuck Connors was never meant to be a TV cowboy. Before the Rifleman, he was a professional athlete, a 6 feet 5 inches powerhouse who played in the NBA and bounced through minor league baseball. Acting wasn't a dream. It was a backup plan, something to keep the bills paid when sports didn't work out. He took small TV roles, usually soldiers or tough guys, but nothing stuck. Then came the Rifleman audition. Connors showed up in borrowed boots and a hat that didn't fit. He didn't perform like a trained actor. He spoke the lines like a man who had lost everything and was still standing. The room went silent. No second reading. No notes. Just a decision. From that moment, he wasn't an athlete trying to act, he was Lucas McCain. The role gave him fame, respect, and a place in TV history. But it also locked him in. Audiences stopped seeing Chuck Connors. They only saw the widowed father with the rifle, a character so real it followed him for the rest of his life. The rifle in The Rifleman wasn't just a prop, it was the show's identity. It was a modified 1892 Winchester with a shortened barrel and a massive lever loop, designed so Lucas McCain could spin it and fire rapidly with one hand. On screen, it looked smooth and effortless. Behind the scenes, it was a disaster. The rifle jammed constantly. The enlarged loop caught on Connors' gloves, his clothes, even his fingers. During early filming, it misfired more than once, nearly injuring crew members. The prop team had to build multiple versions, adjusting each one between takes. Connors practiced the spin for hours every day, during breaks and at home. His hands were covered in blisters during the first month of shooting. But he never complained, because he understood the truth: if the rifle didn't work, the show didn't work. That weapon wasn't about style or action. It was the backbone of the Rifleman, and Connors paid for it with sweat, pain, and discipline. Johnny Crawford was only 12 years old when he became Mark McCain, but he was far from an ordinary child actor. Before the Rifleman, he was a former mousekeeper, trained in acting, singing, and dancing from a very young age. He could memorize long scripts overnight, hit his marks perfectly, and cry on cue without any tricks. What set him apart, though, was vulnerability. He didn't feel Hollywood. He felt real. When Crawford first worked with Chuck Connors, something clicked instantly. Connors treated him like a real son, not a co-star. Between takes, he gave advice, shared meals, and looked out for him on set. That bond carried straight onto the screen. The fear in Mark's eyes, the trust in his voice, and the love between father and son weren't written into the script. They came from a real relationship. Audiences believed them because they were watching something genuine. The true special effect of The Rifleman wasn't the rifle spin, it was the real-life connection between two people who became family. The pounding theme music of The Rifleman almost never made it to television. Composer Herschel Burke Gilbert created a bold, aggressive score filled with heavy drums and sharp brass. It sounded more like a battle march than a peaceful Western theme. Network executives hated it. They said it was too harsh, too intense, and too violent for a family show. They wanted something softer and safer, like other westerns of the time. But series creator Arnold Lavin refused to back down. He believed the music perfectly captured Lucas McCain's inner struggle, a man constantly fighting violence, responsibility, and his past. The show wasn't calm, and the music shouldn't be either. Test audiences agreed. Viewers responded strongly to the powerful theme, and the network had no choice but to keep it. Within weeks, it became one of the most recognizable TV themes ever. It stood out because it wasn't safe. It was dangerous, tense, and unforgettable, just like The Rifleman itself. Before it ever aired, The Rifleman had a very different name, The Sharpshooter. That title focused on skill, speed, and gunplay. It made the show sound like a celebration of shooting. But as filming progressed, creator Arnold Lavin realized something was wrong. Lucas McCain wasn't proud of his talent with a rifle. He carried it like a responsibility, even a burden. Every time he used it, there was weight and consequence. The story wasn't about how fast he could fire, it was about why he had to. Lavin pushed to change the title to The Rifleman, shifting the focus from the weapon to the men forced to carry it. The network resisted. Posters were printed, ads were planned, and changing the name meant losing money. But Lavin refused to compromise. One word completely changed the meaning of the show. Violence was no longer a thrill. It was a moral struggle. That last-minute decision didn't just rename the series, it gave it a soul. While most TV westerns were filmed on comfortable studio sets, The Rifleman chose the opposite path. The show was filmed outdoors in the California desert, where temperatures regularly reached 110 degrees. There was no air conditioning, no shade, and very little rest between scenes. Cast and crew worked long 12-hour days under the burning sun. Chuck Connors often finished scenes soaked in sweat, changed shirts, and went right back to work. Johnny Crawford passed out from heat exhaustion more than once during the early seasons. Camera crews wrapped their equipment in wet towels to stop it from overheating. But creator Arnold Lavin believed the discomfort was necessary. He wanted real dust, real sweat, and real exhaustion on screen. And it worked. The fatigue you see on the actors' faces wasn't acting. It was real. That harsh environment gave The Rifleman a raw, gritty look that separated it from every other Western on television. In the late 1950s, television almost always showed families with a mother, a father, and clear roles. The Rifleman broke that rule, and the network was deeply uncomfortable with it. Executives kept asking the same question: where was Mark's mother? They pushed hard for a romantic storyline, hoping to add a schoolteacher or widow who could soften Lucas McCain and make the show feel more traditional. Creator Arnold Lavin refused. He believed the absence of a mother was the heart of the story. Lucas was a widowed father, alone, raising a son in a violent world while trying to teach him right from wrong. That struggle was the point. The network threatened budget cuts, so Lavin compromised slightly. Female characters appeared briefly, sometimes showing interest in Lucas, but none ever stayed. Every time, Lucas chose his son over romance. That decision made the show quietly radical. It showed loneliness, responsibility, and imperfect fatherhood without easy answers. Audiences didn't just accept it, they connected to it, because it felt honest and real. One episode of The Rifleman was so intense that the network refused to air it for more than 20 years. The story revealed the men who murdered Mark's mother. When Lucas confronts him, there is no gunfight. No dramatic shootout. Instead, Lucas explodes with rage and beats the men with his bare hands, years of grief pouring out in one violent moment. Mark watches everything. The scene was filmed in a single long take, and Chuck Connors didn't hold back. When filming ended, the set fell completely silent. Network executives panicked when they saw it. This wasn't safe family television. It was raw, painful, and disturbing. They quietly pulled the episode and replaced it with a rerun. For decades, only the cast and crew knew it existed. When it finally aired years later, audiences understood why it had been hidden. It proved The Rifleman was never about comfort, it was about trauma, loss, and consequences. Chuck Connors played one of television's most famous gunmen, yet in real life, he disliked guns. He worried the show could glorify violence, especially for children. Because of that, he constantly pushed writers to show restraint. Lucas McCain aimed to stop trouble, not celebrate killing. In one episode, the rifle is never fired at all. There are no shootouts, just a father talking to his son about right and wrong. The network feared it would fail. Instead, ratings went up, and parents praised the show. Connors also refused to fake action. He performed his own stunts, even when it was dangerous. During one stunt, he fell from a moving wagon, hit the ground hard, and was knocked unconscious. Doctors warned him to stop, but he returned to work within days. He believed the audience could tell when something wasn't real. Whether it was violence, emotion, or action, Connors insisted on honesty. That defiance shaped The Rifleman into a show that chose truth over easy spectacle. The Rifleman didn't end with a farewell. It was cancelled suddenly after 5 seasons, not because viewers left, but because the network wanted to move to color programming. There was no final goodbye, no planned conclusion. Even worse, the iconic rifle itself vanished after production ended, lost to time. A 6th season had been planned, with stories showing Mark growing into a young man and Lucas learning to let go. Those scripts were never filmed. After the show ended, Chuck Connors struggled to escape Lucas McCain. Fans only saw the character, not the man. For years, it felt like a prison. But later in life, he made peace with it. He realized the show had mattered. It taught generations about responsibility, restraint, and fatherhood. In the end, the rifle was never the point. It was a symbol. What truly mattered was a father choosing guidance over violence and love over fear. That legacy still lives on.